Alrighty, all welcome back. We're on the internet together again today. We're talking tobacco black market. It's only going to get worse. Why is that? Well, amidst all of this tobacco black market violence, fire bombings at all those small stores, etc., and the losses of tax that the government is incurring because their cigarettes are too expensive now, and people are going off to the black market. What have they done? What have they done to maybe make things a bit better in terms of black market activity, underworld criminal activity? No, they haven't reduced the tax. They haven't paused the tax. No. As of yesterday, the tax went up. So a packet of 20s on average is now gone up $3. The tax has gone up another 5%. What do you think is going to happen? It's just incredible decision making.
Just a short walk from John Jensen's caravan park are multiple tobacconists selling illicit cigarettes.
I walk in the shop, I ask for a box of red, and that's what I get. It's in and out.
Get on your buddy.
No mucking around.
He says he's been buying them for 6 years after realising how much cheaper they are compared to over-the-counter cigarettes.
Everyone I know is doing it. Everyone I know that smokes is buying illicit tobacco because of the price.
And the price is being pumped up by tax, as high as
$62 for a packet of... You got to be joking. That is why people are doing it, isn't it? People are bad people. There's no other way. There's no other way to describe it that it is government greed for tax revenue, because they know that people are addicted and addicts will pay whatever it is for their fix, masqueraded as health. Oh, it's for health, guys. It's to prop up the health system because they're going to be in the health system with smoking-related diseases. We need to have that money there to fund that. They got to fund their own treatment or something along those lines. So what was the peak year, which was only a few years ago before they just got too greedy with it, for which they the cigarette and tobacco tax, that netted them $16 or $17 billion nationally. That's incredible. How many hospitals is that in a year? Well, that's about, 8 hospitals. They're a couple of $1 billion to knock one up. A good one, a big one. Not seeing those being built. Now, the most recent figures, I made another couple of videos about this a couple of months ago. The more recent figures have shown that due to the tobacco black market, that those taxes have been eroded now down to $9 billion a year, which in my opinion is $9 billion too much. To my understanding, per cigarette now, it's about $1.50 or $1.60 tax per cigarette. Now, I'm not a smoker, but that is astronomical. And they wonder why the black market's popping up, because it is there for the picking. If someone can buy a $10 packet of cigarettes or a $62 packet of cigarettes, what do you think's going to happen? Morals or ethics or doing the right thing or whatever you want to call it, that goes out the window because people are addicted to the substance and they're going to get it. If they can get it cheap, they're going to buy it. And people are fed up with government taxing things through the roof. So like, stuff ya. I'd rather actually support this than government taxation, which is a real indictment on people's views on the conduct of the government at the moment.
50%. Some say that's fueling the black market.
Get on the
In 2023, it was estimated illicit cigarettes made up 28% of the total tobacco trade, contributing to a decline in government revenue, which has plunged from $16.3 billion in 2019 to $7.4 billion. And it's caused...
it's a loss of revenue. That's all you are, guys. You're just a revenue source. They'll find all the different ways to get their revenue. Well, that's revenue leakage of, what's that, $9 billion.
Causing mixed messages from politicians.
But I wonder whether we need to look more closely at the federal government's massive excise on tobacco. The massive increase has exploded the illicit tobacco marketplace.
I respectfully disagree with Chris. I don't think the answer here is to make cigarettes cheaper for people. I think the answer here is to get better at compliance.
Yeah, I completely disagree with Chris. We want to get as much money as possible. We want to tax people as much as possible. Clearly not working. Clearly, imagine the amount of people that are going to have to go into the black market to buy their smokes for there to be a $9 billion tax drop in taxation revenue from cigarettes in 4 years. These people who want to smoke from the black market, even if you outlawed cigarettes, they're going to go to the black market and get them. So now the government is shooting themselves in their own foot. It's like any business. You make something too expensive, people will go elsewhere. They just won't pay it, regardless of how much they may want it. They'll get a substitute product. This is it here. Oh, we're trying to get people to stop smoking. Then just ban it then. Ban it, make it illegal. I'm sure it'll still exist. But at the end of the day, you're not benefiting from the sale of cigarettes when you're saying you're wanting to ban it.
Professor Becky Freeman says if the government were to lower the tobacco excise, it would send the wrong message.
So the only thing you would be doing is rewarding the very retailers who had flouted the law by allowing them to legally sell cheap cigarettes. We would make smoking more appealing to more people, and we'd be undermining all the public health gains we have made.
She says there are more effective ways the government can target the black market.
The number one thing you should be doing is reducing the number of outlets that sell it. Make your enforcement job a little easier for yourself.
Who's going to pay? Who's going to pay for that? Can you imagine how many of these? There'll be thousands and thousands of these particular shops. How they're going to have enough manpower and what they're going to fund that with taxpayer money as well for people to be walking around to shut down a shop. That is going to also be, it's going to pop back up the next day once it's shut down.
The Albanese government says it spent $350 million tackling the black market over the past 2 years and appointed an illicit tobacco and e-cigarette commissioner to work with all levels of government to coordinate national policies.
Tobacco laws have just come into effect in New South Wales and Victoria, requiring retailers and wholesalers to hold a licence to sell tobacco. They're the last two states to introduce this legislation, and suppliers have until...
Pretty sure anyone selling illicit tobacco doesn't really care about having a licence to sell it. These shops are blatant. So what are the key brands, right? The key brands are the Manchesters, and you've got Double Happiness. They're about $10 or $12 a packet. Some places cheaper, some places more expensive, but that's more or less what you're paying for these cigarettes. Now, if you walk past any of these shops that you'll see on your strip shop, I've seen them literally having the Manchesters on display. It's absolutely blatant. I don't give a stuff. I'm going to move on from here. So what's the government? What's the government's solution here? So they've increased the tax. So this particular report's a few months old. They've increased the tax since this, so they've made the problem worse. And now they're charging licensing fees for small businesses to sell cigarettes. So they won't sell the legitimate ones; they'll just sell the fake ones with no license because they're breaking the law anyway. Smart. Alrighty.
Welcome back. Steve Price with you. Mark Knight coming up in a second. Well, I wanted to mention this tonight. There's been obviously ongoing concerns. The government's huge taxes on tobacco is now driving people to go and find shonky cigarettes, illegal cigarettes. Even the crackdown on vapes, I'm told, is driving people back into illegal tobacco. Now, tobacco tax currently sits at around $1.40 per cigarette stick. Well, I want to show you something. I've just returned from Japan, and I've got to show you this photo. Cigarettes in a convenience store there, and you can see it on the screen, are only a few dollars for a pack of 20. Now, as I said, $3.60 for a pack of 20 compared with up to $50 for the same packet of cigarettes here. It's crazy. Joining me now is former federal police officer who helped set up the Australian Border Force's tobacco strike team, Rowan Pike. He's also managing director of Rowan Pike Consulting, which provides services to public and private sectors. Rowan.
There you go. Good plug for Rowan. So we got the Border Tobacco Cigarette Force, or whatever you just said it was. What's that for? That's not so much to stop the actual crime of it. and arrest people, it's to make sure the government revenue isn't lost. That's all it is. It's one cartel having a tobacco war against another cartel. That's all this is. If you look at it from that angle, it's all about money. If there's no money in it, they wouldn't be in it.
Welcome to the program. I mean, that example I gave of last week in Hokkaido in Japan, no wonder the crooks want to load up containers and bring illegal cigarettes into the country.
They certainly do, Steve. Yeah, the price has a huge impact and is the primary driver of our illicit, certainly cigarette market here. That lever.
Think about smoking. Smoking was once seen as a bit of like a cheaper sort of guilty pleasure, and probably over the last 20 years, it's just this tax has just pushed it up through the roof. I think what the government needs to realise is people are going to do what they want, and they don't want to be told they can't smoke, or they're going to make a smoking very expensive. They'll just they're like, stuff you. Well, I'm going to go down to the local tobacconist and buy 50 packets of them for $500. That'll keep me going for a few months, instead of paying 10 for a box of them for hundreds of dollars. Go and look at a carton, how much a carton costs at Woolworths or Coles. It'll blow your mind. You could buy a bloody laptop computer with it. Maybe a cheap laptop computer, but this says carton $350. You're like, what? What? Absolute craziness.
It may have been effective 20 years ago in reducing smoking rates in Australia, but in the last 15 years or so, that lever's just been pulled far too far. And it's a no-brainer that smokers are going to be attracted to $10 packet as opposed to a $50 packet, as you say. So now in Australia, criminals are actually selling more cigarettes than the legitimate companies are selling. So it's over 50%. And of course, the vaping illicit rate is up over 95%. So that's a disaster.
So there we go. They should just left it alone. What's that got to tell you? What has that got to tell you? If people want to smoke, they're going to smoke. If people want to quit cigarettes, they will quit, and they'll go through the process, the painful process of trying to get off them. The very difficult process of trying to get off them and break that addiction. They don't want the government stepping in and saying, we're trying to help people get off smokes because we'll make them unaffordable. They'll make the decision on their own. And that isn't the reason why the government's doing it. The government's flat broke. And that's why, amidst all of this, that's why I've made this video. I find it astronomical that they've pushed them up. They're taxed another 5%. Not 0.5%. Not 1%. Not 10 cents or 20 cents a packet. $3 a packet. That's not small. It's an absolute joke. This place we live in. As I said, $3 packets of smokes over in Japan, or wherever it was, or a few bucks, $5. I've been to Europe. The cigarettes there, they're probably the equivalent of about $6 or $7, maybe $10 at the most for the conversion rate. Been to the US, smokes are actually inching up over there. They're probably about $15, $20 now.
Australian tobacco policy is basically an embarrassment on the international stage.
Yeah, it's completely broken. I remember interviewing former Victorian Police Commissioner Shane Patton, who told me, well, of course the Crims are going to try and import illegal cigarettes, because if they get caught, they'll get a bit of a slap on the wrist instead of what would happen to them if they were caught importing MDMA or cocaine or other illegal drugs.
Yeah, that's right. The legislation regime is all wrong. It's stuck in the past and needs to be updated to reflect the criminality and the seriousness of these offences.
Where is most of this illegal tobacco coming from, Rowan?
Middle East.
Well, the cigarettes come from places such as the UAE, from Cambodia, from all over Asia, really. And the vapes are mainly coming out of China now. So, yes, at least 95% of the vaping market is illegal Chinese vapes.
And how much of this is Border Force interrupting? How much are they seizing and how much is getting through? I mean, I know the figures are probably almost impossible to address, but there's more getting in than getting caught, I presume.
Yeah, that's right. By their own admissions at Senate estimates and various hearings, they suggest that they're stopping 25%. And if they're stopping that much, then there's an awful lot coming in. As you would have seen yesterday, they've been seizing record numbers of both cigarettes and vapes. And
this is what you should do. Right? You want to stop all this, just take all that tax off cigarettes, make them $10 a packet. The whole black market folds overnight. People can get the cigarettes that they prefer, the regulated cigarettes. You can get their big brands. They can get them for the same price as these cheap knockoff smokes. And there you go. Done. This problem's done. No, but they're fighting because it's about money. Money. So they're willfully accepting that 75% of the illicit cigarettes are coming in. They might stop 25%. Big deal. That's not even a big hit for them. You think about as well these manufacturers who make these cigarettes over in those countries. It's perfectly legal for them to make them over there. They're legitimate businesses. It's just that there's gangs importing them here and selling them, avoiding tax on them. That's the problem. Incredible. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. I just saw that news today. I heard it on the radio and I just thought, I've made a couple of videos about this previously. You think they'll learn? They just keep doubling down, tripling down on these really bad decisions. And people are just more and more people are going to turn. Every time they have a step up in price, there might be people who want to do the right thing, or they're scared of getting caught or something like that. That's going to become a secondary factor once, the dollars are too much and they need to get their fix. Cigarettes are a very addictive substance, so people are going to do what they can to get them, especially if they want them. And taxing them isn't going to make people want to miraculously quit them. Thanks all. See you in the next video.